Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. You know, for a very long time, all we have heard is that TJ Watt's on the decline, that he isn't worth the money, that he doesn't deserve the big new contract. And I want to just ask you, especially Steelers fans that claim that they watch the Pittsburgh Steelers and they watch the actual games, what games are you watching? Because TJ Watt had 11.5 sacks last year. He was double and triple teamed the entire season. He was ranked number 1 in run defense at his position. Then TJ Watt gets rewarded for the money that he earned and deserves. And all the so-called experts say that TJ Watt doesn't deserve that money. Based off of what? Based off of what? That he's 30 years old? That you're jealous that he's making money? Because the argument makes no sense. And going into 2025, what has been happening with TJ Watt so far? He's being double teamed, triple teamed, chipped. If TJ Watt wasn't an elite player, offenses don't game plan to double team him, triple team him, and chip him. You make no sense. You're making no sense, and you sound absolutely ridiculous. So when I read articles of this, like this, the demise of TJ Watt was greatly exaggerated. Who started this nonsense to begin with? Who started this garbage to begin with? Because if you really follow the team and you pay attention and you break down the plays, if you're a nobody, teams do not pay attention to you. They don't care about you at all. They'll run the ball right at you all game long. What do they do to TJ Watt? They intentionally run away from him so he can't wreck the plays. They intentionally double team him, triple team him, chip him every single play. If you want to be mad at anybody for not producing, it should be Alex Highsmith. Now I know Nick Herbig has played well in his last 2 games, but there's other players on that defensive line or the outside linebackers who aren't doing their job when TJ Watt gets that much attention. When TJ Watt gets that much attention, the other rusher on the other side should have 11 to 20 sacks every single year. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have made this mistake in the past with other superstars. Rod Woodson could have played his whole career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Obviously, he's not going to get huge contracts every time he needed to redo his contract because as you get older, you're going to make less money. But Rod Woodson could have easily finished his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Kevin Green, Franco Harris, the list goes on and on. So the Pittsburgh Steelers realized from past mistakes, you know what? TJ Watt has definitely earned his money his entire career here. He's not on a downside. And even if TJ Watt starts to decline at 34 years of age, he's 30 right now, he finished his entire career as a Pittsburgh Steeler to teach the new defensive players that are drafted by the Steelers the Steeler way. It's very important that someone like TJ Watt finishes his entire career with the Steelers so when the young guys come in, he can teach them the Steeler way and how things are done off the field and on the field. Let's jump into this article. The demise of TJ Watt was greatly exaggerated. Really, tell me about it. Thanks to another dominant day on the gridiron, Pittsburgh Steelers star outside linebacker TJ Watt continues to put himself in rarefied air among defensive players in NFL history. Already the Steelers' all-time career sacks leader, owning a tie with the most sacks in a single NFL season, and holding one Defensive Player of the Year award to his name, Watt is on a Hall of Fame path. He strengthened his resume Sunday in Dublin and finds himself behind only Reggie White, once again in one key stat. According to NFL research, Watt's sack of Carson Wentz and the Steelers' 24-21 win over the Vikings moved him past Pro Football Hall of Fame DeMarcus Ware for the second most sacks by a player in his first 125 career games since 1982, when sacks became an official statistic. Let's check out the sack against Wentz. One more time. You know what it is? He makes it look so easy. That tight end is a pretty good tight end. I forget his Hodgkinson or something. He's supposed to block TJ Watt on the play, chip him before he goes out for the pass. And TJ Watt's just so strong and so explosive. He blows right by him and makes it easy. And most Steeler fans who don't know what they're talking about will be like, oh, he just whiffed on the block. That had nothing to do with TJ Watt's ability. The tight end was just that terrible. No, it's not the tight end. It's just that TJ Watt is that good. And he's a freight train that moves like an alley cat. And that's why he makes it look that easy. Watt is now up to 3 sacks on the season and has all 3 sacks in the last 2 weeks. He's starting to turn up the heat in recent weeks as the Steelers' defense has settled in. Along with surpassing Ware with this sack, Watt also tied Pittsburgh native and future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald in career sacks. As Steelers Depot's Alex Kozora noted in Stats of the Weird, the 111 career sacks for Watt and Donald has them tied 29th all-time in NFL history. It isn't just rushing the quarterback where Watt is making history either. He had a huge interception Sunday at Croke Park, and that helped him join a legendary group of players with his 8th career interception.
Without the left guard, Jackson, without the center, Kelly, without the right tackle, O'Neal, and then this is picked off! T.J. Watt! As electric of a big play guy as there is on defense. Without the left guard, Jackson, without the center, Kelly, without the right tackle, O'Neal, and then this is picked off! T.J. Watt!
T.J. Watt is just unbelievable. On that play, Cam Hayward gets his hand on the ball, but T.J. Watt is coming out of his stance full speed to rush the passer and has enough awareness what's going on when Cam tips the ball to catch it and take off and running. People just think this is, it's just such a simple skill. Anybody could do it. Give me a break. Just stop. It's not like T.J. Watt is dropping back in coverage and the ball gets thrown to him and he picks it off. He's taking on an offensive lineman. The ball gets tipped in the air. He has enough awareness to look up, catch the ball, and take off running. So he's doing a lot of things on the play other than just intercepting the ball. According to NFL research, Watt's 8th career interception, along with having 100-plus career sacks, puts him in elite company. He's now just one of 7 players with 100-plus career sacks and 8 or more interceptions, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers in Lawrence Taylor, Richard Dent, Chris Dolman, Jason Taylor, Julius Peppers, and Ricky Jackson. Heck of a group of players to be with. You know, it's amazing. Nobody calls those other players overrated, but you hear that about TJ Watt all the time. Go figure. This isn't the first time Watt has been mentioned with a guy like Lawrence Taylor from a statistical standpoint. Back in 2023, after his interception on the road against the Los Angeles Rams, Watt became just the 2nd player in NFL history, right alongside Taylor, to have 70-plus sacks and 7-plus interceptions over their first 7 seasons. And let's not forget all the forced fumbles. Last year alone, TJ Watt had 7 forced fumbles in a season. Most players don't have 7 forced fumbles in an entire career, and that includes Pop Warner, high school, college, and the NFL. And TJ Watt gets that in 1 season, along with the sacks and interceptions. I don't want to hear that he's not an all-world, all-planet, legendary player, because if you say that TJ Watt is overrated, you're just an idiot that has TJ Watt derangement syndrome. Fast forward, and Watt remains alongside Taylor and others in sacks and interceptions. He's an elite player and is showing no signs of slowing down. He'll have his name in the Pro Football Hall of Fame one day, especially with the stats he continues to rack up. Am I surprised by anything that this article is saying? Absolutely not. Because if you say if you say anything other than TJ Watt is a Hall of Fame legendary player, then you're just not paying attention, or you have TJ Watt derangement syndrome. Today I was listening to DK Sports, Dan Kovacevic, and he said he didn't like that the Pittsburgh, Minnesota Viking games in Ireland had a real Pittsburgh feel to it, and I couldn't disagree with him more. That game for the Pittsburgh Steelers was a home game, and the stadium announcer should have absolutely traveled to Ireland for that game to make it feel like a home game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the players. I mean, obviously, we know it wasn't a home game in America, but the game for the players, the coaches, and the fans, since it's a home game overseas, it should have that Pittsburgh Steeler feeling. I don't know how anybody can argue with that. Playing Renegade, waving the terrible towel, doing the things that Pittsburgh Steelers fans do at home on 1st and 3rd down. It was absolutely necessary in Ireland because I assure you, that if the Minnesota Vikings, if that was their home game overseas, they would have brought their play-by-play announcer, their stadium announcer, and they would have did everything that Minnesota Viking fans do at home games. So why shouldn't Art Rooney and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization make it feel like a true home game for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I couldn't disagree more with what DK Sports had to say about this topic. The Pittsburgh Steelers are now 3-1 going into the bye week, and after that, they take on the Cleveland Browns. This sets them up for a perfect position to be 4-1. We have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to be happy about going into the bye week. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.